Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Thursday, December 29th, 2022. And here are some of today's trends in the news. 29th. Oh, yeah, November 29th, my birthday. Spirit is 76. It's 76. And now I'm heading towards 77. Whew, don't want to go to heaven. Not yet. Anyway, on the market front, the Dow Jones Industrial was up to 345 points. The S&P gained 1.79%. The Nasdaq climbed 2.5% on the news of
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
it's total horse shit. And again, that's all it is. It's a rigged, stupid game. So the Dow and S&P are slightly higher for the week, but the major averages are headed toward their worst year since 2008. The panic of '08 took out that domain name in 2007. Yep. The Dow's lost 8.58%. So it's not down that much when you really look at it. It's not in bear territory as the Nasdaq is. It's down over 33%. And the S&P 500 is just hanging in there, not quite in bear territory. It's down 19.24%. So bear territory is when it goes down 20%. So here's the deal. Again, here's my forecast. Tomorrow is the last trading day of the year. And for the week, it's, it's kind of almost not a big change. But if the markets go down tomorrow and it ends really on a sour note, and there's been no Santa Claus rally, I believe we're going to have a real market meltdown between January and March. And they could actually crash in March. We'll see what happens. We need more trend developing in certain sectors, particularly the oil sector. And oil prices were down a bit today because there's not great expectations that the Chinese opening up is going to be a big opening. And it's very important to note this. They've destroyed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of businesses with their serious zero COVID policy. The economy is not going to bounce back, and it's not bouncing back everywhere or anywhere. It's not, life is very different from when it used to be. Again, I have to be very careful talking about COVID because we got censored because of our Peace and Freedom rally on our Trends Journal site, 7-day censor. We have one strike, and I don't want to get two more against us. We'll be off. So I'm not talking about COVID anymore in terms of the scientific data, because anything you say that is contrary to what the government tells you to say is misinformation in this land of the USSA, the United Soviet States of America. So going back, what they've done with this COVID policy, not only them, but it's all around the world. Businesses are totally different. Places close early now. There's no nightlife anymore. Again, Woodstock is 15 minutes from me. You go there on a Saturday night. When I moved up to Rhinebeck in 1979, we used to go to Woodstock. We'd go out like at 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. When I lived in the city, we got 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a whole different time. But now places are dead at 10:30 at night. Roads are empty. And not only here, in all across the country and around the world. The businesses have been affected by this COVID lockdowns are tremendous. So gold is going up because, well, here's a story in the Wall Street Journal, an epic dollar rally goes in reverse and investors expect further declines. I don't see much further declines. Yes, it's going to go down, but I'm not in this camp because the other currencies are so weak. So look what's going on in Europe. Oh, it's a lovely, lovely day. Inflation running at 10.7%. And, they're still near, you only have interest rates at 1.5% in the EU. So no, this thing is going to go down. You're going to see, I think, other currencies getting hit a lot harder. And the only reason that the dollar is up is because the other currencies are so strong. So, but it goes also that is the feeling on the street, because that's why gold prices are going up. So now if the dollar goes down, you're going to see gold prices boom, because then it becomes more affordable for other countries to buy it, because gold is dollar based. And they have here, most investors were caught off guard by the greenback strength this year. You know what that is?
Warning, bullshit alert.
We nailed it perfectly. We nailed it perfectly. We said the dollar was going to get stronger as the Federal Reserve kept raising interest rates. It's in your Trends Journal, but they don't quote us. They quote most investors who suck up to them, bow down to them, and take it up the arse. I'm going to be proper. I need that English accent. I can't say go fuck yourself. That's not proper. Rising rates boost the dollar by attracting investors from around the globe, blah, 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 blah. And again, the stronger dollars fuel the debt crisis in emerging markets, which we're writing about. So anyway, that's where we see it going. And then about how bad things are going. Well, the White House says it's not going to be that bad, so don't worry about it. And inflation takes biggest bite from the middle. There you got it, Wall Street Journal. But here's how they write it. Inflation is often called a tax on the poor, but this time it hits the middle income households the hardest. Many low-income households benefiting from exceptionally low unemployment rates have found jobs and experienced wages increases, blah, 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 blah. But also all the but here it goes. According to studies of the Congressional Budget Office, many were also bolstered by federal payments during the pandemic. Federal payments during the pandemic. Printing up fake money, giving it to businesses, people. You obey what we tell you to say. Stay home. Here's money for you. And that's what created this inflation, is all of this cheap money that they pumped into the system, over $6 trillion in zero interest rate policy. But also they say during the pandemic, not during the pandemic. Stop calling it a pandemic. It's because of the lockdowns imposed upon by the populations, by the politicians. End of story. Beijing bolsters trade ties with neighbors. Well, we're going to do a lot in the Trends Journal. There's none this week, and next week we're coming out with our top trends for 2023. You're not going to want to miss them. And by the way, if you go to Business Insider, France 24, all they talk about is, this is what happened last year. The Queen died. Who gives a fuck? What do I care about what happened last year? What's going to happen next? What are the trends shaping the future? We don't know. We don't have a clue about it. So we'll just feed the people shit, and they'll swallow it. So anyway, Beijing, there's going to be a big shift here. But again, they're not going to bounce back. The damage that they've done to the Chinese economy is unprecedented. Worse than what the West did to their economy. But on the long term, 10, 15 years, but probably 5 years will probably be out of it. You're going to see more and more growth in China, more and more pulling away from the West. Big coal miners profit triple as global demand surges during an energy crisis. Again, you know what that is, right?
That was bullshit.
Total fucking bullshit. Not an energy crisis. The sanctions that the United States and NATO and other allies put on Russia that drove up the prices. So now all you people that love climate change, you're the same fuckfaces hanging out the Ukrainian flags in front of your houses. So go fuck yourself. We'll get somebody else to do it. Poland takes steps to enter nuclear energy age. Financial Times. We've been writing about this. One country after another going nuclear. One country after another going nuclear. Hey, you like Fukushima, huh? Oh, they're dumping in all that poison water into it didn't make any of the news. Yeah, millions and millions of tons of the shit going into the water. Now, 3 Mile Island, I like that one. How about a Chernobyl? Don't worry about it. It's fine. Australians fall out of love with beer and pubs preferring glass of wine at home. This is according to the Financial Times. I read this story. Australians love a beer, once fed the idea of a country where amber nectar rules supreme. Yet, 2022 was the year when beer lost its mantle, and it goes on. Huge reversal from the 1970s, where beer accounted for 70% of all alcoholic drinks consumed in Australia. Quote, the big change is that people are drinking at home and not buying in pubs anymore. Half the beer produced in Australia was consumed in pubs in the 1970s. Back in the 70s, you used to go out and play. There were bands, places all over the place, people going out and having fun. And now with the lockdowns, excuse me, in Australia was one of the toughest ones. People can't afford to buy the stuff. You're looking like a $10 a pint. And more people are at home. As I was saying, this damage from the COVID war is incalculable. Economically, spiritually, mentally, and physically. We write about it in the Trends Journal. On to the international news. Netanyahu seals coalition deal for far-right allies. We're writing about this in detail because you read what they write. And again, Netanyahu's far-right deals criticized. Far-right, they keep using that term. So what's going on in Israel that they're coming against it? Israel incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu completed a coalition deal on Wednesday, the day before, blah, 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 blah. Netanyahu's government hopes to achieve its 4-year term and include expanding Israeli settlements in occupied West Bank, stealing more Palestinian land. It's fine for the Israelis to steal all they want. And don't call me an anti-Semite. I call out America for its war actions. I call out, I'm a man of peace. I launched Occupy Peace. So don't call me, and I'm a warrior for the Prince of Peace. How dare they keep stealing that land? It gets worse. This is from the Wall Street Journal. This is their language. And I'm mentioning this because one of your top trends is going to be Mideast madness. You are going to see tensions increase between the United States and Israel against Iran, and it'll be hell on earth. Again, this is the Wall Street Journal, so it's not like, The coalition will include 6 right-wing parties, 5 of which are religiously conservative. It goes on to say the two sides also agreed to pass laws guaranteeing, you ready this? The death penalty for terrorists. That means anybody fighting back against those that are invading their country. And banning the raising of the Palestinian flag. Yeah, great freedom over there, huh? You mad? If this was the Iranians doing this, or another country, the Russians, it's okay for the Israelis to do it. You Palestinians can't raise the flag. Hey, but you can put up those Ukrainian flags. That's fine. Mr. Netanyahu's party agreed to border police becoming a standalone force whose head would answer directly to blah, 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 blah. All right. The right-wing religious Zionist party won Mr. Netanyahu's approval for a law, you ready? That will enable businesses to refuse customers who violate their religious beliefs. What a country of freedom and democracy. Keep sending our money over there. Only over $3 billion a year. Oh, yeah. And Tel Aviv is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive cities to live in. But if you don't believe in what I believe, go to hell. And the religious Zionism base, blah, 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 that dot the West Bank also received antis that would further entrench Israel's control of disputed territories. Disputed territories means properties that Israel could steal, but it's okay. You know why? God gave it to him. Moses came down with the 10 Commandments. It's right. No, I think it was the 15th commandment. I remember the Mel Brooks movie. He dropped the 5. Yeah. Again, Netanyahu's far-right deals criticized. And one after another. President Isaac Herzog said he was, quote, very worried and disturbed by the racist statements heard in recent days. Condemnation from top officials underscores growing concerns among Israel's certain sectors of Israel's society about incoming government, which political analysts say will be Israel's most right-wing and religious government in history. Quote, we've never seen a wave of legislation like this, said Amir Fuchs, a senior researcher at the Jerusalem Israel Democracy Institute, a think tank. He said the proposed changes are, quote, a critical blow to democracy and a deadly blow, Salenti says, to Iran and the Palestinians. Much more, much more. I mentioned about the dangers of the COVID lockdowns. This is in the Wall Street Journal today. Schools confront chronic absence among students. The problem, which came to light earlier in the pandemic, is hitting districts. Not the pandemic, the lockdowns that were invented by politicians using political science, because according to the Centers of Disease Control, 1 to 17-year-olds, there are 72.8 million in America, less than 2,000 died from the coronavirus. And according to the CDC, over 60% of those hospitalized in that age group for coronavirus were obese. But yet the damage that they have done, as I said, is incalculable, and we've been chronicling it in the Trends Journal. And then on to the Ukraine war. The hypocrisy of propaganda is beyond the belief. You know, they had embedded reporters back in the Iraq war. You didn't have freedom of this press anymore. Embedded. You're in bed with the government, embedded reporters. So here's the toilet paper of record yesterday. Deliberate civilian strikes. Look at these pictures. Look at them, one after another, page after page. Look at the next one after another. Now they show the deaths of the people. How come the New York Times didn't do deliberate civilian strikes of America in Iraq that killed between 800,000 to 1 million people? How come they didn't show those pictures day after day, as I've been showing you week after week from the New York Times and other journalism? It's not journalism, it's propaganda. Am I against the war? Totally. Is the war deadly? Yes, because they won't speak about peace. And America, as you know, keeps sending more and more weapons of death. But the hypocrisy of these little low-life pieces of shit to put these pictures up when they were totally silent when America was murdering people all over Iraq. And I forgot Afghanistan. The 20-year war. Yeah, that guy Petraeus, the general over there that everybody loves. Yeah, that says we were winning. And Obama, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner. The Afghan troop surge. I forgot about that. Where was the toilet paper record? The New York Times. Here, this is today's. A culture under fire. Russian invasion has systematically destroyed Ukrainian cultural sites. A Times investigation found by Jason Farago, Sarah Kier, Anara, and Haley Willis. Hey, how about the culture under fire when America destroyed Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and Syria. Oh, Syria. Oh, the United States, the special forces killed some more Islamic people there. Yeah. What hypocrisy. And that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. We're giving you the truth in trends. People swallow this shit. And that's all this is. It's the toilet paper record. And all they do is they throw out this shit and give you this toilet paper to wipe the shit up with. And by the way, that's proper language. It's situation language, little stupid boys and girls. When you're in a fight for your life, you say, please don't hit me. You're in a fight. But you have to be proper, like Obama, folks, always folking us. He did it properly. He didn't say fucking us. He was always folking us. So anyway, this is what they're doing. Look at this. Look at this page after page. Page after page. This isn't news. It's propaganda. And finally, it's global. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal. President of South Korea pardons a predecessor. President Yoon Suk Yeol of South Korea has issued pardon of Lee Hyung-bak, the former president who was sentenced to a 17-year term in 2020. You mean 2 years ago, 17 years, he's out? Oh, and the fuckface had got caught. Let's see. Lee was arrested in 2018. Another one over here. Hold it. $6.4 million he stole. Another guy, Miss Park, was impeached and ousted on charges of bribery and abuse of power in 2017 and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. She was pardoned as well. Mr. Yoon pardoned Lee Jae-young, the head of Samsung conglomerate, who would serve time for bribery in a separate case. I'm mentioning this because it's prosecution to the fullest for we the little people of Slavelandia, and the bigs get a slap on their wrist and a free ride. It's so, if we don't have a renaissance and a move to a higher spirit, it's the end of life on earth. Danger ahead, 2023. You got it? It's a crime syndicate running a country near you. Are you like that little Catson Macron? Look at the little fuck faces all over the planet. You obey them. Be a good boy and girl. Listen to your leaders say. Follow the leader. Yep. Down the crap hole. So anyway, remember, subscribe to the Trends Journal. And also, it's very important that you please check the follow link below for all my latest news updates and exclusive interviews. And please spread the word. Please spread the word and visit trendsjournal.com. And of course, consider subscribing. We now have a great monthly deal. We're going to come out with the top trends of 2023. No one else is doing it. They don't have a fucking clue. They don't teach trend forecasting in Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge. You know why? They don't know how to. I have best-selling books in the field. I'm going on my 43rd year of doing this. I'll put my track record up against anyone's. Do I get it right all the time? Of course not. I'm a human being. But get it right more than anybody else, anywhere, any place. So again, please, click on these links and send it to your friends. And the ones that don't like my language, you tell them to listen to Fox and CNBC and MSNBC and all the other stupid shit. We'll see you in Buon Natale. Merry Christmas has just passed. And of course, happy holidays and Felice Anno Nuovo. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Are you prepared for what's next? These are unprecedented times. What's next? What's going to happen? Read the Trends Journal. We have an unsurpassed track record of forecasting history before it happens. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.